All right. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
I need coffee. Really need
I
coffee.
need some tea. And
So,
it's so funny because I just flew back from San Antonio, Texas yesterday.
yeah.
And, it's a 2 hour difference. So it was like I got up early because I'm so used to the San Antonio time. But man, was I beat yesterday evening. I was like dragging. So, but thanks again, L'mar Kojani, for coming in and having a quick conversation. So let's get right into it.
All right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, got licensed back in 2017. It was random. I was not planning to be a realtor. I actually did it because a good friend of mine who has a hedge fund
Yeah,
wanted me to learn commercial real estate before I started becoming a wealth planner with him.
got it.
And ended up joining a team at Keller Williams, that was a commercial team. And that was accidental too. That was only because they could invited me to a meeting. I
Yeah.
loved what I learned in the meeting. And I figured I'd be there for a couple months, learn the ropes and move on. And I
Okay.
fell in love with it. And I found out that it was an industry where my ADHD, my random skill set, all the weird knowledge and trivia that I knew all came and coalesced into being useful skills for, real estate.
So let's go back. What did you do before you got into real estate?
Well, I've been a sales director. I've been sales, outside sales, and sales
Yeah.
director for many, many years.
Okay.
Primarily outside sales.
So
Uh,
you know sales.
I know sales.
Okay.
Yeah. But mostly in the tech field. I was also a programmer. I was also an engineer, network engineer.
Yeah.
I did, a lot of stuff around programming, software development, so on and so forth.
Beautiful. So what made you go into real estate?
So,
What was like the minute or that moment? It's like, yeah, I should get into real estate.
I actually had gotten pressure from my dad since I was young because my
Okay.
grandfather, my grandfather was very anti-business, except when it came to real estate. He was a politician,
Yeah.
but he had said that land is everything, and that you have nothing if you don't have land. And he said if you're ever going to go into any profession where money is focused,
Sure.
make it around land.
Beautiful,
So
beautiful, beautiful. So let's dive deep into your first year of real estate. Tell us your experience. How was all of that, going into, got license, and now going, into the future, how that has changed dramatically for you?
So that was completely different. I look at it as two starts. I had
Yeah,
my first year, which was 2017. I was all gangbusters and gung ho, jump into it,
yeah,
and thinking this is going to be easy, because my experience with realtors had not been pleasant. I found that our family, they used to develop and buy and flip houses,
okay.
and my father had a very low impression of a lot of realtors. I said that it was kind of the highest paid, laziest people he's ever run into.
Mm,
And so I thought this is going to be a cakewalk, right?
yeah,
Then I thought, wow, if you're doing it right, there's a lot of work in this. This is really hard. And I still managed to do really well my first couple months. I got a listing really quickly off the bat from cold calling a lot and just use my sales skills. And I ended up getting some clients really quickly by being creative and just hustling. But shortly into it, my ex-wife and at the time was my wife and my kid got in a horrific car accident right when it started. I think it was my second class of Ignite,
yeah.
and I was in the middle of Ignite, and I had to run out because I got the text. And where everyone told me I was going to be rookie of the year, I ended up just having to pretty much drop out to go take care of them.
Right.
They were in a pretty bad accident.
Wow.
So the next year I tried restarting, and the next year I had two more false starts. Life, so I let life get in the way, and then so I look at my second start as my real start, which is 2020.
20.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you started really um during pandemic.
I actually really started. In fact, right, my big closing, one of my biggest deals happened the day of the pandemic with the shutdown. The bank shut down
Wow.
everything, and it was pretty frenetic,
Yeah, yeah.
And it was supposed to be just a fantastic year. I had like counted in my head all this money I was going to make. It was fabulous. I had all these clients. I was in escrow and I was commercial escrows, and then the bank started shutting down. And I was freaking out and called my old broker record. I called Jen and a bunch of people. I'm like, what do I do? I'm about to go into court and be sued left and right because we can't get our money out.
Yeah,
We're in
I
sticks and
remember
brick
that.
escrows, yeah. And then I was on the 1031 exchange for an apartment building, and the bank said we can't finish this, and we had no time to reverse course on anything. And that was the first time I had taught a residential investor into commercial, and then we had to go through that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
definitely a very interesting time in 2020, So a lot of agents that have started during that time, obviously it was new for all of us,
yeah,
right? But just the moving parts, the parts to it, escrow, wouldn't communicate as well because of the shutdown. It was just a little bit of a delay, right? But we got through it,
yeah.
right? We got through it. So
Well, I,
that's
I think the hardest part is open houses because I remember doing an open house in Reseda, and it was already a long drive there. But when they finally let us start having open houses, you had to clean and disinfect the entire house in
right.
between each person.
Yeah,
We had a line of close to 100 people. We had 101 offers. We had a small condo, and we had them going all the way around the block as I'm frantically with the homeowners, sitting there and scrubbing and
I
cleaning and
remember
spraying.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the to let each new person in.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we don't see anymore,
Yeah.
right?
So it really cuts your teeth though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into your operations. You're a very successful, consistent producer and has built an amazing business on top of the Kajani team as well, right?
Mhm.
So you also have a team.
Yeah.
So walk us through your operations. What does your daily look like,
Um,
Lamar?
I mean, I could be better. This is a thing in real estate. It's people a lot of times people try to put a lot of hardcore rules onto everything and consistency. And there was one thing I learned from my old mentor, that you do need a plan, you do need to have a foundation, some roots to how you do everything. But at the end of the day, if you can hit 50% of your daily tasks on there, you're ahead of the game
Right.
because things happen. If you have deals, that you're working on, if you have a loss of the pipeline, you're going to have problems. You're going to have questions. You're going to have people interrupting your day. You're going to have a lot of people disrupting you. That's why I find a lot of the other producers I talk to tend to get up really early in the morning to handle the gym, handle their doom scrolling, handle their meal prepping, all their stuff at 4 or 5 in the morning. You have to really kind of change your habits in that sense. So
Right.
I wake up. I shouldn't probably even admit this because I tell people I'm not awake, but I actually get up usually about 5 in the morning and I check my emails, which is not the healthiest thing to do first thing. I get up, do some stretches, and I will start working on first reading on anything that I think can be used as a talking point that day for real estate. So I will read the news, but I don't sit there and read like things that have no pertinence to my life or they're not going to add anything to my knowledge. I'm going to look at things where it actually has an impact, either globally, nationally, or locally on the real estate market,
Yeah.
and something to talk about. And it gives me kind of almost a theme for the day. Like when you're watching a series on TV or a sitcom, there's always a theme to the entire episode where every single person is going through something that's around the same genre, like maybe heartbreak or maybe loss or a battle between friends. I look at the same thing every day as a theme where I'm going into with the clients. What is my theme for today? What is the knowledge for
Sure.
him that
Yeah.
I'm going to teach someone and I'm going to learn more about? Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So let's dive deep into leads because agents are always constantly asking, how do I generate more leads?
That's easy.
So,
And
well, for you, it's easy. So
it's so easy.
walk us through what that looks like. So for the audience, they'll get a glimpse of what you do to generate opportunities.
Okay. The first thing is the mindset. I mean, people talk about mindset all the time, but they don't explain what it is. And I find when I used to mentor a lot over at the old Office Beach Cities, and then even when I did stuff for a lot of seminars and with the board, and I would focus on trust being the number one thing. People always talk about being liked or being known and branding or being trusted. You like will get you in the door. Being trusted is going to give you keys. It's you need to focus on trust first. People are trying to get people to like who they are, change their voice, make themselves pleasant. That's great. I have a lot of clients that can't stand me. They think I'm total a-hole. I have a lot of realtors that don't like me, but they respect there's consistency there. So when I'm doing lead gen, I'm asking people, with veracity, what is their problem today? What is the problem they're facing? Like, what's the thing that's keeping them up at night? And is there anything that I can do to help them on that's real estate related, that's within my realm? I'm not sitting there just trying to sit there, hey, you don't know me. You've seen maybe one or two flyers, or you saw me at open house. I want you to trust me with one of the largest investments of your life. I'm asking them, what is it that you can trust me to answer for you to help you with, where I can use my knowledge so I could show it to them
Right.
and not have commission breath. Just approaching from that alone, whether you're doing cold calls, whether you're doing mailers, whether you're door knocking, you're doing events, just showing that you're not sitting there with your hand in your pocket, but you're actually there to help. The First off, they're going to open up more and give you more information, and the money's going to come because you're just going to have more people to talk to who want to talk to you. It's going to get to the point where you don't want to talk to people because you become their advisor for everyone, and your phone's going to be blown up all day. And that's kind of where my phone gets distracted.
So let's go into a little bit
Yeah,
deeper. You said two things. One, commission breadth, and we'll get to that a
yeah,
little bit. I want to get your perspective of what commission breadth is.
yeah.
But two, so how are you getting your leads?
Okay. So this one thing I tell even mentees, there are multiple different ways, and I highly recommend everyone tries stuff outside of their comfort zone. I hate door knocking. I can't stand door knocking. I used to hate cold calling, but now I love the phone. I'm one of those rare guys that loves getting on the phone. So I personally need to go to open houses or be on the phone. I need to talk to people. I'm ADHD. I spit out words like nothing, and that's my strength. You turn your weakness into your strength. What's
Yeah,
the thing that you can't control and can't stop? Turn it into your strength. Use
right,
it. Just go with it. Me,
right.
I don't shut up. So those are two things where not shutting up helps me. But some people don't like that. They're afraid of the phone, or they don't feel their personality comes out. They want to be face to face. That's where open houses. I tell them go to open houses, go do door knocking, or go to events. If you don't like that and you're more analytical, then that's again to online lead gen. Some people pay for leads. I pay for a lot of leads, but I also do my own lead gen through social media ads. I'll do it through like grassroots things where I use AI bot, which is really simple. You go into Claude, you ask it to teach you how to make a bot to sift through certain ads and make your own, Facebook and Google ads and A/B test it. But at the end of the day, no matter where you get the initial contact, you need to learn to like the phone or the face to face, because you're going to have to at some point get on that phone and either text them on the phone, have a conversation with them, and get them over to meet you someplace, either on Zoom or in an office. Otherwise, you're not going to get the deal. You have to have at some point some interaction on the phone. So I'd say, try everything, find out what works for you, not what you like, but what works for you. If you do what you like, none of it's going to work.
So,
And then get better at the phone. Yeah.
have a niche.
Yeah.
Have a niche, and getting out of your comfort zone is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not like cold calling. They don't like farming. They don't like door knocking, but that's ultimately where opportunities come from.
Yeah, and I'll say this because when I remember I was so embarrassed. I was like 17 or 18 years old, and I broke some records. There's an old retail chain called The Good Guys. And I ended up being the number one salesperson in the country for them. And they brought me in, and there was a bunch of adults, and I'm seeing these guys with a bunch of gold chains and too much cologne and mullets out there, and all staring at me, and they're asking me, what is it? How do I get the trusted clients? How do I get all these clients to buy? Because they were amazed I was selling extended warranties, $10 extended warranties on $7 Walkmans, which is a lot. We're talking the 80s, right? And so you're selling a warranty, it's more expensive than Walkman. And so I'm not trying to do it to con people, to cheat people. That's commission breath. We're going into that. I said, I'm showing people the value. What is the value? Why does that exist? There's a reason someone came up with this, said it's a good idea. And I show them how to use it. And I apologize to the CEO. So I'm sorry, it's probably going to cut your bottom line, but maybe not, because people are not going to get up and do what they need to do. But I said, but really what I'm doing, I'm talking to everyone, I'm talking to them like friends. I make friends with people. And when I say a friend, it doesn't mean that I just sit and tell jokes and make them happy. It's being a friend is telling someone the hard truth, tell them things that they need to hear that no one else wants to sit there and bother with. They don't want to have the stress of being the bearer of bad news. They want to have the stress of telling them the truth that, hey, does this shirt look good? No, it looks like crap. You should change it. Hey, I'm gonna go and make XYZ decision. That's a horrible decision. That's what being a friend is. Tell them the stuff no one else wants to tell them because they don't want to deal with the bad parts.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
Right.
I do that and I find ways to help them just because I want to help them. And that alone just brings business.
Yeah. So being authentic and genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go into commission breath.
Yeah.
What is commission breath?
Commission breath, unfortunately, is something that the majority of people in a lot of business have. So,
Tell us more.
okay. Actually, my girlfriend was just mentioning there was a client I got, and I was using this to the team. We're doing an open house over down Hancock Park, and a lady came in. And I know we're short on time. I'm long-winded, but she had her own agent. As a common thing I ask, and everyone asks, "Where's your agent?" Because she's interested in buying. Want to find out, is this really an agent or just a fake agent? To find out if I can get some more clients. Sure, an open house for it. Find out it is a real agent. The things she was telling me were just horrible about the agent and the lender and everything, but I can't step on toes and do anything about that. But
Right.
I gave her some good advice. And then said you might want to have your agent call because she wanted to ride in the house. I was not going to accept the offer based off the loan stuff she was talking about. Everything was too shaky. And we had multiple offers.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward it, she ended up firing her agent, not because of anything I asked for, just because of information I gave her. Because she said I was the first realtor
Yeah.
that found out she had an agent, and I still helped her and gave her information and knowledge. And I didn't sit there and try to win her over and do stuff. And she said that was the first point, that she learned more from me in that 10 minutes than she did with her agent for over a year. And that was sad. The big part she said was when we went to go write an offer shortly thereafter, like a couple weeks later, we got the inspection report. I found some things in the city. There was a lot wrong with it. This is the one where we were trying to get an Alvesco in K-Town. Okay.
That's right.
All right. And it was probably one of the most nightmarish deals ever. They had even dropped the price for some points. And I told her, I'm like, look, to paraphrase the conversation, and said, I think this is a great investment for someone who is experienced and has a lot of money and can afford to take a hit. But you're brand new, you're a first time buyer. I'm worried about you not have time to sit there and babysit you on this. How about we just cancel this offer and we find something that's more palatable, a little bit less hairy, and just take your time. Don't rush. If we don't get some right now, I said you got a cheap rent. Let's wait a few months, wait a year. I gave her advice I'd give my little sister. And she had said the fact that I was honest about pulling away and not rushing. So why do we need to rush? What is your hurry right now? To my house. Wherever our agent said, let's write off for now. Let's do it now. But you have to think about it. It's if your mom or your best friend's asking you and you're not a realtor, say, and you know there are factors in your life that it would not make it a bad decision for them to just go write an offer on a certain house or go sell their house at that point. You're not going to sit there and say, let's go this right now. That's one aspect. The second aspect is when someone calls you up and asks questions, whether it's off a lead or a callback or an open house. So many agents I hear just off the bat, the person says, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house or selling a house. They go straight into pre-approval or how many bedrooms, bathrooms, where do you want to live? I ask a simple question. Why? Why? And then I try to poke holes in their reasoning for buying or selling a house. And then they'll ask me, Lamar, do you really want my business? I said, absolutely. And I don't shy away from the commission. I say, I want the commission. I need the money. And I'll tell them all the things I need to spend the money on. I'm transparent. I said, I got this bill, that bill, that bill. Here's what I could do. They'll be fantastic, but not at the expense of you making a horrible decision. So talk to me. Why do you want to buy a house? Why do you want to move right now? Why do you want to sell your house? Are you sure it's a good decision? Let's go through it. And I sit down with them and I try to poke holes into it because it does two things. One, it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know I'm not pushing someone to make a financial decision that's against your interests. Two, it actually builds confidence in them because when people get wishy-washy so many times during the deal and they're not sure, well, you've already covered all of that because you've poked all the holes in it. And if you found enough holes that makes the decision not worth moving forward right now, then we'll stop it right there. But if you've poked all the holes through it and they still want to move forward that decision, great. When they come back later and said, I'm having doubts, talk to them again. Well, let's go back and talk about what we said before. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Let's move forward. This happened yesterday. We have a fourplex we're going to list. Great listing, $2.5 million. And when she was telling me about the timing, I told her, I said, honestly, we're all ready to go and list this next week, but let's wait at least till December, maybe till February, because the timing is going to be bad for XYZ reasons. And I said, can you afford it? I said, can you afford to hold off for that long? She said, I can't. I said, okay, let's get the pictures right now and let's see what happens after midterms, and then we'll go from there. Certain things she works around that industry.
So two things that I
Yeah.
hear: trust,
Mhm.
and then obviously consultant,
Yeah.
being a good consultant, right? And navigating your client's best interest,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the key instead of, looking at it from one faucet, right? It's just the commission and what I'm going to earn, right? And that's where you cultivate opportunities all the time.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Cool. Um, Difficult scenario that you been in that you were able to get out. I know that transactions can be smooth, but I can also tell you from seeing it from both sides, there's always very
Hey,
difficult transactions. So give us one experience you had.
I'm trying to keep laughing because Jen actually calls like every deal I have that they say they're Lamar deals. I have a tendency to get the worst deals ever and I'll get referrals from agents and think, oh my God, that agent's so cool, they're so nice. And then find out, oh, this is a piece of garbage he had in me. This is filth. Why did you do this to me? It's like, do they really hate me? I have the worst deals ever, the worst luck. Some people say it went smoothly. I've gone to a point where if a deal is going really smooth, I have so much anxiety because I'm waiting for the hammer to drop
Yeah.
because there's always something happens. Agent's awesome, person's awesome, loan's awesome, inspection's awesome. What's going to happen? Escrow's going to screw up, and we have some other fire. And it always happens. I got to the point where I'm hoping for all the problems early on so I can fix it and learn from it.
Yeah.
And I just look at it as a constant learning experience. But as far as any deals, all of my deals have been hairy. I'll talk about one of the worst deals, smallest deals. I did it because not for money, but I did because of I like the people. It was over in a really rough part of UCLA. The one I talked about. I would dye my beard really dark. The grandmother didn't speak English, and she thought I looked when I dyed my beard, and I was skinnier because I didn't have my health issues I had after December. But I had a heart attack, so but I looked like a famous Nortanya singer that she liked. And they were getting the son was the grandson was nice man, but he was getting attacked constantly because of lifestyle by a lot of the locals. They had people vandalizing their house. They had a crack house right next to it and a homeless encampment. And they were literally getting attacked in front of my face when I was on list equipment.
Yeah.
So I would show up there. The one difficulty was I would show up there at night. But I don't recommend this to anyone. I would to intimidate people and chase people off the land. Do not do that. I was there to break up a fight between the homeless people, the drug lab, and the clients. 8 o'clock in the morning, he called me, Lamar, you got to come here because they're stopping us from moving stuff. And like, call the police. Don't call me. We found out a lot of issues. Another son had been trying to finagle all the land and have the grandmother declared incompetent to steal the land from them. I had to go to the city. I had to get an attorney from them. I had to get a translator for them. I did do so much, but this is one of those deals where I wasn't making much commission. The commission was nothing compared to big deals I had. But that one small deal, I was doing it just because I knew I had the skill set to help them,
Sure.
and no one else will help them. If I didn't help them, these people would have been homeless. They literally would have been homeless. Like
Yeah.
not hyperbole, they would have been homeless.
Yeah.
And I helped them from that, got them out of the house, got them some money, got them into a new place, Cathedral City, so a place could afford without space in Palm Springs. That turned into a whole slew of fantastic opportunities. Without even looking for an opportunity, I got one of my agents out of that, the recommendation. He brought in some really big clients. I've gotten 3 major client referrals, big clients, and more stuff that's been coming out of it. And I'm not saying you do this stuff for rewards, but it eventually does come back to you. And just the knowledge of having to get around that.
Yeah.
I had some big developers that called me and said, how the heck did you get that place sold? How the hell did you manage this? Can you share your secrets with me? And I said, no, but you could hire me for your project. So I have some off-market commercial things I got out of it too, just by navigating the problems.
Yeah. Love
So,
that. So two more things.
yeah.
Branding. How important is branding to you? And the reason I say that is because I love your branding, and it starts from the smallest details, right? Your business cards, your website, your for sale signs, stuff of that nature. So tell us a little bit about your
It,
branding, and then I want to go into when you decided to, start your team. When was that vision? It's like, I think it's ready for me to
I,
start building a team.
the brandings I've always thought was important because I say this all the time. It's kind of a cliche thing, but know, like, and trust. And people say that, but I said the order is wrong. It should be trust, know, and like. You can go into someone can like you, but not trust you. Someone can know you, but not trust you. But if they trust you, the other things become secondary. You don't have to like your doctor before he does surgery. You don't have to have your attorney tell you funny jokes and then just fumble when you get to court. You want someone you can trust to take you to that. That's the first part. But the second part, know, is pretty strong. Knowing is branding. Okay, knowing who you are, knowing your business, knowing you've been around for a while, how you operate, what to do, what you stand for. These are all important things. And it's hard for me to, I tried really hard to figure out how do I separate myself from people. I can't do it politically because I'm politically ambiguous. I go by issues, not by parties. In this climate, that's not that popular. I couldn't go by a certain area because I work everywhere. I just prostitute myself and I'll go all the way. I've had deals in Mexico, and I'll take deals everywhere. So I had to figure out what is it. So for me, I thought, what is my weakness and strength? My weakness is I talk too much and I can't keep secret. It's just like I just like spit out everything about me that's going on in that second. I'm that person where you say, "Hey, how you doing?" I say, "How you doing, Simon?" "Great. How you doing, Lamar?" "Oh, let me tell you." And then I break out to an hour long conversation. What's going on? So how do I
But that's
monetize
how
that?
you connect with people,
Exactly.
and that's
And
important.
and that's my brand. My brand
Yeah,
went on the trust factor of that,
yeah,
the integrity and the knowledge
right.
that I nerd out and doom scroll all night on to learn a bunch of stuff and I talk about afterwards.
Yeah,
So I did that and try to give informational things. But then on the branding, I try to do something that I would like. What looks like someone who's serious?
yeah,
What looks like something that's luxury as well? That a commercial client and a luxury client can like and feel comfortable with. That looks like something that has staying power. Does not just chase after the newest fad. Okay, that I can see just like when you buy a suit. You have certain suits from the '80s that look like crap right now. Something classic and normal and clean.
yeah.
And I don't worry about all the niche markets because if you can sell yourself to the bankers, you can sell yourself to attorneys, you can sell yourself to luxury market, you can sell yourself to everyone else.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, love
So,
that.
yeah.
So I thought I had one more question, but I actually have two more questions.
All right.
So when did you decide that you wanted to start a team,
That was easy.
and how was that created?
Okay, that was back when I was in Beach Cities. I didn't want to start a team. I was on a team that I really liked a lot, but there were certain things lacking. There were certain things that I wanted to see that I didn't like. That I wanted to be able to have branded myself, have my name, not just be stuck to it. I
Yeah,
wanted to have the ability to collaborate with the team
sure.
and operate on the residential area like commercial guys do, where you have 4 or 5 guys on a deal, and you don't look at, well, I don't want to do this split or that split. Let's all share together, get this deal done and move on to next, move on next so you could do more volume. I said I want to be more McDonald's real estate, not Spago's, because McDonald's and Walmart makes all the money. Spago's just has their reputation, right?
Right.
No, I do want to make money, but without commission breath. So when I was on that team, I really tried to make it kind of fit in the mold and create a team within the team that like a sub team that wasn't working, and they moved on to just be pure commercial. And I thought I'll be like Bill One, and I'll just have a bunch of assistants because I get some ADHD drives people crazy. Like, and I didn't want to manage people. But then I found I didn't have the money to hire a bunch of assistants, and so I was chicken and egg. And then it just wasn't working because that would take me to calm down, become organized and focused, and teach these people. That's not me either. So then I thought, well, I have all these leads and no one to help me close them. So I started referring them and trying to partner up with different agents all over the place, thinking this could be great. Still didn't work. So I went through all these different ways, said, okay, screw it. I spent all this time mentoring people. why don't I mentor them and teach them my style, the way I want to do it, and just have them on the team? And that's what I started doing, just finding some people I thought were hungry, intelligent, and honest,
Yeah.
and to get them pushed up, and but not push them in and pigeonhole them into a way that that was going to make them uncomfortable or try to make someone something that they aren't. And when I realized the concept of how I was going to do this, it was a harder concept. A lot of teams just bring a bunch of people on to make cold calls or what have you. I said, no, I'm going to take a little bit of time, train people up, and make them all independently strong agents on their own. And to eventually have kind of almost like a super team. Like if you look at basketball, like the Harlem Globetrotters, as a concept to like teach them. So like I have one agent that I've been teaching for 3 years, it's taking a long time because she said she wanted to learn commercial. I said, commercial's going to take you a long freaking time. You're
Right.
not going to learn overnight.
Yeah.
She's finally going to close a lot this year.
Nice.
Um, and but I had to put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it because she wanted to learn an avenue of commercial real estate that usually takes multiple years to get into.
Sure. Yeah.
Redevelopment of industrial properties to turn them into schools. I mean, that's not
And she's amazing too.
yes, yeah,
She asks a
yes,
lot of
yes,
great
yeah,
questions and she's always curious.
yeah,
And that's a good quality to
yeah,
have. So thank you for sharing. Last question is I know you're heavily involved with the local
yeah.
association. Why are you doing that when you can be focusing on
Uh,
your business?
I didn't want to on that either. Most of the stuff's accidental. It was because I was already focusing on a lot of local politics, mainly because I felt it was an important thing to do. I was doing a lot of activism. I was doing things with some politicians helped in campaigns. They invited me onto the government affairs, the local board, South Bay Board of Realtors, invited me into their government affairs committee. I jumped to that. That was fun for me. And then from there, I went on to Impact and then LCRC, which are two of the PACs where we're trustees for the money to give to issues that they're pro realtor, pro landlord, or to politicians, to campaigns. From there, they invited me to Ledge Day, which is when the CAR, the California Association of Realtors, and often backed by NAR, National Association of Realtors, will go to Sacramento and show the strength of realtors in our lobby to try to get the politicians to recognize, hey, our career matters, our industry matters, we're 24/7. We're not just about real estate. We're about helping people's lives. And To the fact I'm going to give a side tangent, a lot of realtors aren't aware that it was actually the realtor lobby that made it possible for people to be able to check their credit reports and have a bunch of fair lending laws. Okay, on things on your credit checks and to stop unscrupulous interest rates because they had found that people could not buy a house if you had predatory lending, predatory banks, or unfair laws on that. So it was actually the realtor lobby that pushed for all these consumer protections.
Yeah.
So that was important to me. It was important to me to get involved in that. So I started to get involved in CR and with the board, and then they had me come on as board director. Then, so I served on that as a board director for South Bay Board. I served CAR as state director for a couple of different committees that I felt were very important.
Yeah.
And I still I'm changing up my committees. I'm still saying government affairs, change it up, but just again, get out of my comfort zone because it's not just about building my business and making money. It's about doing something that's going to help people around me, help the community, help. Again, it sounds so cliche, but it is important. It's when you're building your brand, if for nothing else, if you're just going to be a commission rep agent, at least it gives you knowledge, it exposes you to what's really going on. So if you're not doing it because you want to go and be a good person to help people and help form laws that are going to help our community and help our career, at least do it because it's going to make you a smarter agent. Okay, so you can speak intelligently to your clients and to the banks and to the appraisers, and at least still that. So I'd be happy if more people got involved just for that reason alone.
Yeah.
But,
Love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, L'mar. Great information. If people want to know a little bit about you, where can they follow you?
Um, was it Kojani? Well, I don't have that much information. I have more of the Instagram stuff, L'mar Kojani Real Estate and Kojani Real Estate Group. I
And how do you spell Kajani?
oh,
Just for the audience.
Kojaa and this is Nancy I. I think actually the best way because I don't shut up is just give me a call, text me. I pick up the phone all the time, constantly on the phone. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, Lamar, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And that goes for everyone. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks.